Wedding vows exposed. I walked in on my fiancé rehearsing wedding vows to my sister, and my first instinct wasn't to scream, but to listen, and what I heard changed everything. He was smiling, saying words I'd never heard him say to me, about forbidden sparks and second chances and how he'd never felt this alive. I stood frozen behind the half-closed door, my heart pounding loud enough to drown out my own breath, as my sister laughed and told him he was insane. I realized, in that moment, this wasn't the first time they'd done this. There was a familiarity in their voices, a private joke woven into their whispers. I didn't confront them, not then. Instead, I backed away quietly and tried to piece together every conversation, every late-night text they'd brushed off, every look they'd shared when they thought I wasn't looking. That night, I lay awake in bed beside him, his arm draped over me like a lie. My sister's perfume lingered in the air. I wondered if I was the only one who sensed the electricity between them or if I'd been deliberately blind, refusing to see the betrayal right in front of me. The next morning, I invited my sister over for coffee. We talked about wedding details, and I watched her closely, looking for cracks in her perfect smile. When I asked if she had anything to tell me, she just shook her head, eyes wide and innocent. My fiancé joined us a few minutes later, kissing me on the cheek, and her hand trembled as she lifted her mug. The tension in the room was thick enough to choke on, and I realized neither of them would confess. The game was on me. So I made a decision. At the rehearsal dinner, I stood to give a toast, but instead of the speech I'd written, I told the room exactly what I'd heard, and who I'd heard it with. The silence that followed was absolute. My fiancé looked at me, stunned, and my sister burst into tears. But the real shock came when my mother stood up and told me, quietly, that she'd done the same thing to her own sister, years ago. I felt something break inside me, a pattern repeating, a secret legacy passed down like a cursed heirloom. I realized then that I wasn't just fighting them. I was fighting myself, and the fear that maybe betrayal was the only love I'd ever really learned.